from the center line of the truck.
Classrooms back he won't be able to get a ladder truck.
Don't worry about access.
What if this is on fire and you can only get in this way? Yeah. So you need to be able to get a ladder truck back around this corner and park back here in some way to get to the back access, in case you don't have access from this side.
All this winking going on back here.
I mean, it just seems as simple as possible could be wide open.
We're here for traffic right now. Details are part of the site plan that,
But it's good to bring them out, though. Well, everybody here is good to bring things out like this.
Should that be a gravel drive?
it needs to support 80,000 pounds on 4x4 aluminum plates.
The reason I asked is still trying to keep, safe zone like this, encourage people to drive back there.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we want it for emergency vehicles only.
Right. So they
All right.
not.
okay, all right,
Gravel
well, here's, let's talk about
We could talk about
our intention for the site design. I'll get over here. Following the comments that we got from the looking at this to have one-way traffic flow for our parents coming down Oak Street, traveling along a widened Cherry. We would propose to widen Cherry on our side of the street, so we have access into this drop-off here. These blue arrows show the traffic flow for parents, and then back out School Street. At that arrival and dismissal times, this would be the only way that parents would enter the property and pick up students. Now, in the evenings, parents park in the parking lot and they go in and get their child for security purposes. When we had a town hall meeting with the residents, we were asked to make this parking bigger. At one time, you saw the previous site plan, we had a much smaller area for the parents to park in. Now we have about 100 spaces for that event to occur.
Not to interrupt, but is the policy going to change? Because right now at CISO, you don't, I mean, you don't park, like all the parents line up, hop out of their car, wait till their kids are sent out.
That's why they want to separate the parents from the bus.
Well, but he's just saying at the end of the day, parents park, that's not, unless policy is going to change, you don't really park and go in to get your kids. You wait at your car and your kids come out.
That's what they ask.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's
just
what
for
they ask for the
clarification.
town.
I have a question. Are you planning on using part of Cherry Way, the existing road, and you're going to widen it, but you're going to use this back alley of Cherry Way?
Yes, back here. This is Cherry Way right here.
Yeah.
So this darker area shows us widening Cherry Way out towards on our side of the property line to have more passageway back there. You can see the photos that we took of some of those cars are parking along the street now, and two cars really can't pass back there.
No, your original drawing here shows that you're going above Cherry Way.
Yeah, we've revised it since that drawing.
So now you're going to use Cherry Way part of it and widen it?
Yes.
Well, shouldn't the whole width of the road be up to, heavy-duty traffic, or?
We have those details, Frank, we've not even been presented at this point, but that's a good.
Well, I'm just saying, this is something new, because I went
All
to...
right, it is. This is still a work in progress. Like, we haven't got to the final design yet, so this is an opportunity to get everybody's input. But what we had proposed was to widen it to this part of our property, so that we provide access for our parents to circulate through here, pick up students, drop them off. At the same time, we were proposing buses would enter School Street, travel around in this fashion, drop off up and pick up along the curb line, and then back out. And the two would meet right here as they exit the property.
We have residents that park in this alley right now.
I know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see on these photos over here what's going on back there.
Yeah, we have traffic.
You can see the cars that park along the Cherry Way.
Well, they will if it's.
How would you handle that?
It would be certain minimum widths of roads?
How would you handle that on Cherry Way?
That's why we proposed where we're going to have our traffic along here, we would widen that out so that our traffic could pass by those parked cars. They park on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there isn't anywhere else for them to park, is there?
I don't.
That's what we're looking at right now.
Well, then you need some park cars and room for 2 lanes of traffic.
And I don't know if they have garage access from the rear alley.
I don't know that either.
Is there any
Frank,
reason why?
What?
do they have, on Cherry Way, do they have garage access behind?
Some of them, not all of them. No, you might have one or two residents with garages, the rest of them park in the alley itself.
Okay, we need to tell
But you
them
need
that.
room for a car to park in 2 lanes of traffic also.
This is pretty rough in here, and plus it's very wooded, very steep slopes in there, so. It's a, well, I shouldn't say steep slopes, it's a steeper slope.
The contours are parallel. I'm a civil engineer.
You can put it right
You can make it work. I'm just, you know, you're now we're interfering. I hadn't seen this yet, but now we're interfering with residents that never had any traffic at all. We assumed there just was going to pass the fire hall and maybe one point here and find a way in here and keep this segregated. I think you should at least look at it.
That's what the original drawing was, plan here, was to have the road above Cherry Way. There's Cherry Way, the alley. The original plan was to have them up above by Titano's.
Yeah, he's talking about hugging one a little closer, but yes, we did. And I think Steve, I think he has seen that one, Den.
We need some of your guys to.
What's the question, sir?
You know, a little more information about the school street, the post office here,
See, there's Cherry Way already. The road was above Cherry Way. Right. And that's all changed January 15th since I went to the meeting. But now I think the whole.
I don't know anything about the property. I know when we.
Storm sewers.
I know, that's what we wanted to hear. There are unique circumstances out of this. We thought you might not know.
When we performed the counts, we observed that all the buses are currently coming in off the school street anyway. That's currently where the buses are coming from.
Yeah, like why did we buses where they went straight up and came around Burns instead of going in or straight up?
We just want you to be aware that there are circumstances in the field that start to turn
Above Cherry.
two-dimensional maps.
Totally avoid Cherry.
Your property.
Excuse me.
Our property.
That was the original drawing when I went to the meeting, January.
Elizabeth, you could solve all the problems. Even had
That's what we want next part to look at. We look at it and just see a problem.
Yeah.
We thought you guys would say, you can, if we do this or this, prove it.
Excuse me. My mother used to always say you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, and I never understood what that meant until recently. I'm wondering if you can, I mean, I know that you're trying to make this work, but have you considered another location that would not be as disruptive to this mining community and would perhaps be much better for you?
You or Josh, do you see traffic control being a possibility here? Warning signal? I'm talking about on Muse Bishop. It's a state highway. Would PennDOT permit any type of a reduced speed at arrival dismissal time?
A school zone?
Yes.
Their rules specify that, and I think the one that's going to catch you is that the school property, you have to have some frontage on the road to post to get a permit for a reduced speed.
That's why we don't have one right
They don't
now.
have
Yeah,
it.
this
Yeah, it's
isn't a
just
school
indeed the
crossing
school
here.
zone.
That's just, we just have a road
Yeah, we mark
crossing.
up the slow signs for people and.
That's the biggest issue. So, I mean, I've seen some creative things done where
Even with walkers?
it doesn't matter. Yeah, and you have to have walkers on that route. But I've seen some creative things where a school district might be close to a state road, and then they'll buy one property that has a little bit of frontage on there, and they'll do some stairs or a sidewalk to it, and then they can show that they have frontage, but you're pretty far away, so you don't technically have frontage along Muse Bishop. So that'd be the first qualification.
That would be a start in the right direction, 15 miles an hour, that would be reasonable. I mean, I think cars would slow down. We can have some enforcement, but right now, the concerns are we're not controlling the speed on that particular location, and there's not much traffic coming in and out of there right now.
What would it take to get a flashing yellow light?
We've been working on that intersection of 980 and O'Hare for about, what, 5 years?
Yes.
Yeah. It takes every day, it took
We
a
can't
long
even
time.
get we can't even get a fire station sign from PennDOT.
Yeah.
About a
There's no
traffic,
signs.
They don't care. I mean, they don't.
how about a traffic cop?
That does slow traffic down. Our guy here, like I said, it's not a real school crossing, but most people respect it. Technically, he's not it's not a
Yeah, you
school
can't
crossing.
enforce traffic
Yeah.
violations or laws. So you're required to have an extra officer there during school hours if that's the case.
And they won't let us put by those signs that said school crossing. If you just say, they just say slow. It's the same thing, the little green kids, but it doesn't say school on it because they wouldn't allow us to use school crossing.
I just have one question for you here too. This is actually the property line right here, coming down to the sea and coming across here. Have you thought about trying to acquire something over here so that you could just put a main road and stay away from the main residential area and put a main entrance up into it? That way, would there be more sight distance? This is Muse Bishop right here. Would there be more sight distance down in here and try to acquire a strip for a road in there?
Well, to answer the first question, is we've not explored that.
But is the topographic area there, would it allow it to go up that way?
If we cross the creek,
There's a creek, hard to say, but you can still cross a creek, I mean, just like anything else. I was just curious if you investigated that at all.
No, we've not.
Because it would give you, you could put a larger access road up into there that would give you better access the whole way without having to go through the residential part as much.
We would have to do it across.
Who owns all that
You would have to go
land
across
there?
the creek, exactly.
Why, if
Well,
that's
it's just
the
a
case,
thought. I don't know if there's
why don't we
any-
just
Bring
go
it.
wide on Oak Street?
Let that developer.
Brigham Young's most of
down
it,
here,
so
put a, what size pipe was that, Dan, that they approved, they okayed for
it's
that?
like a 48-inch pipe.
Isn't that why they put 2 overflow pipes, but they didn't make them build a bridge on that?
It just seems that there's a lot of problems with the increased traffic right where all the residential areas. And I mean, we all understand we're dealing with an old coal mining town. The streets are narrow. You all know that. I was just wondering if there was a possibility of looking into that also to see if you could acquire right away through a road there.
And it keeps being brought up to us that even if it's not buses turning in this way, if it's cars stacking up to turn in, waiting their turn, are you worried about the...
Would you be able to do it down here though and bring a road up through it? And just put a new bridge in there and go that way with it?
Get the money.
I mean, I was just wondering, I mean, if you could put a larger entrance to it, make it like a big entrance to that facility up there. It was just a thought. I don't know if anything could be worked out with that at all.
Under 100 feet, it's not as regulated as much. It could be simply a GP permit for a driveway crossing if there's no wetlands in the area. It's a relatively, DEP speaking terms, easier permit to get from DEP. So it is a possibility.
So it'd just be like an encroachment?
No, it's not an encroachment, it's a general permit for a driveway crossing. That's what they would call it.
If no wetlands are found?
No wetlands are found, then it's not an issue. I mean, I'm
Keep it
familiar
under
with that
100
creek.
feet.
It's a relatively small creek. I mean, it does get bigger when there's flow, but I think it's not a huge deal. I mean, you could get a crossing there with a culvert, you wouldn't have to build a bridge. But I just have the same questions. Is it at the optimum, what's the optimum point along Muse Bishop Road that you would put that driveway in? If you would own property up to there, then you could at least signal it, right? That's what we talked about, would be at least have flashing warning signals for that driveway.
What would the sight distance be on Muse Bishop Road in that area?
Well, I'm not, that's what nobody looked at.
It might not be feasible in that.
Actually, it would have to be better there than going out
Yeah, you're
there.
level, you're pretty much level going down the road.
Something else to look into. I mean, you would alleviate going through all that area with just small streets and stuff, but it's just something to think about.
This dark line.
Okay, it's the property line, okay,
That's
see
our
that?
property line. About 31 acres.
In the small areas, what, maybe 3-4 acres, 5 at the most?
Well, this would just be a strip.